I am Jared, a middle-aged, good-looking, chubby white boy. The progressive socialist worst nightmare. I fear God, cherish the Second Amendment, and I am a patriot. I'm not going anywhere. Deal with it.
She's out of control. She's out of control. Her world's spinning round and around. She's out of control. She's out of control. Her world's spinning round and around. She's out of control.
I'm going to report on the events of January 6th here in a minute. But before I do, I want to talk about citizen journalism. Today, Biden and Harlot were inaugurated. What next? Do we roll over and die? Do we quit? Has the movement been crushed? Do we concede? We know we can no longer get information from the media outlets. Even like Fox News, I used to think we can get something from them, but they're about done, except for Tucker Carlson, Jesse Waters, Greg Gutfeld, Judge Jeanine. Yes, there's OAN and Newsmax, and there's some good stuff happening there. But we need to be citizen journalists. We need to report and give our opinion on the news of the day and the things happening around us locally, regionally, and nationally. It's up to us to inform each other. We cannot trust those things that are force-fed us on television, those links and clickable images that come on our phone. Those things are programmed to come to us. They are not good for us. We can't be led by a leash. We need to be responsible, and we need to dig deeper. We can no longer just be satisfied to get home after work, turn on the Netflix, pop the popcorn, play our favorite video game, and let the world go to hell. We have the greatest nation in the world, the greatest nation the world has ever known, and we're letting it slip through our fingers. The socialists will run it into the ground and suck all of the value and the resources and the wealth from it in the process. The rest of the world cares more about America than us. My wife fled a country and came to America as an immigrant. She has seen what socialism does. She has seen what government corruption does. We are so soft here in America, we don't even know what it's like to be occupied. We've never been occupied. Most all other countries in the world have been occupied. They know what it's like to have a force come through their border with guns, come into their home, take the home, kill their father, rape their women. We don't know. We are so soft. We're generation after generation after generation of being soft and weak and apathetic. That needs to change. We need to be citizen journalists. And we need to seek information from citizen journalists, people that we can identify as being honest, open, and truthful. We need to be educated citizens. There is no more time for apathy. I firmly believe that the average citizen journalist will be more educated and more honest than the average journalist who graduates with a media degree. You see, in university, whether or not they want to admit it, students go there at a very impressionable age. They're usually identified by a professor who wants to further his own agenda, and these professors become gods. Like Rush Limbaugh would say, this young skull full of mush is formed and shaped by this professor into an ideology, into a secular religion. You know, everybody has a god. Everyone. And if you say you don't have a god, you're lying to yourself. The secular ideology that there is no God is a religion. And some of these parishioners of secular ideology are more zealous than Christians. And that's why they're winning right now. That has to change. Our government doesn't want us to be citizen journalists. They don't want us to talk with each other. They don't want us to have Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner together, even as family members. They want you 6 feet apart. They want you to wear masks. There's no more conversations. And I can't cite the school that did it, but a university revealed that 90% of all communication, 90% of all human communication in the last year has ceased to exist. We don't talk to each other in the post office line. We don't talk to each other in the grocery store. We don't talk to each other. We're afraid to talk to each other. We must be citizen journalists. To our family, to our friends. We don't have to have vlogs or blogs. You can. They're not hard to do. But we need to make sure what we know and what we've determined to be true gets shared with those that we love. Whatever it is, we can't be afraid to ruffle feathers. We can't be afraid to frighten somebody. We have to share what we know is important. If it's important to us, it likely is important to someone else. Citizen journalism. January 6th, 2021. I live in California. I'm not proud of that. My son in another state, but we both flew to the East Coast because we wanted to be there on January 6th to hear our president speak, to march down Pennsylvania Avenue, and to protest peacefully in front of the Capitol. We wanted our elected officials to look out the windows and see us, 1 million, 1.5 million, 2 million strong. There had to be at least 1 million and maybe 2 million people there. I've been at rallies. I was in Prescott, Arizona, where there was reportedly 25,000 people. That was nothing compared to what was in Washington on the 6th. From the back of the White House in the ellipsis, between that area and the Washington Monument, which is like a quarter of a mile, there was barely enough space to not touch somebody. The place was packed. Everywhere you looked, all the way around, 360, as far as I could see, there was people, and it was beautiful. It was the best time my son and I had together, our entire lives, and everything went great. We met thousands of like-minded patriots. We talked about the Constitution. We talked about how our country is being stolen from us. We talked about the election. For 5 to 6 hours, we just had this enriching patriotic experience. We didn't know anything was amiss. We didn't go into the Capitol. We weren't like some of these stupid, very small amount of stupid patriots who followed the Antifa into the building like morons. The vast majority of the people there did not vandalize, did not cause mayhem. In fact, the group was so big, we didn't even know anything had happened until about 3 o'clock. Our phone started ringing, 3:30. My wife called, his wife called, and they said, "You need to get out of there. It's not safe." And we're like, "What?" They said, "You need to leave. Will you please leave?" And we're like, okay. We had a wonderful experience. We drive back to our hotel room. We turn on the news thinking, hey, maybe if there's cameras, we'll see ourselves, And we turn on the TV, and we find out that we're criminals, my son and I. If the media had even an iota of integrity, they would have reported it like they did the riots in the summer, and they would have said something like, in a very large march of almost 1 million people that started with the president's speech, marched down Pennsylvania Avenue, and ended up at the Capitol, a very small amount of criminals took advantage of this super large throng, vandalized and broke into the Capitol, where some deaths occurred, one of which was an unarmed woman, 14-year veteran of the Air Force, who was shot to death point-blank range by the Capitol Police. That's how it should have been reported. No condoning of the violence that happened at the Capitol. Please hear me. Some non-thinking patriots followed in BLM and Antifa into the Capitol, and that's exactly what they wanted, so they could paint this the way that they did. But make no mistake, we accomplished our purpose. That rally scared the progressive left, scared the progressive socialist to the core. They had no idea that that many people would come together for a single cause. They had no idea that that many patriots existed. And there's more than that. Not everybody can afford, and I can't even afford, but I did it, to fly from California and have my son and us go to Washington, D.C. and the hotel and the food and the cost and everything. But I had to do it. It was that important. And this scared them to death. And that is why it is being painted the way it is being painted. Make no mistake. It was a mostly peaceful protest of many very, very angry and disenfranchised citizens of the United States of America. And we are not going anywhere. And we are not going to stop peacefully protesting. Again, I reiterate, there is no place for vandalism and violence. Anybody who is a patriot who's been to these rallies know, we don't even cover our faces. If you see somebody covering their face up to here with black glasses and a helmet, they're not a patriot. They are not a patriot. I'm going to say it again. When you see somebody completely covered up, all up to here, black glasses and a backpack and a black helmet, they are not a patriot. We don't hide our identity. We let everybody know who we are and what we stand for. So you want to find who the Antifa is and who the BLM is at one of these rallies? Sure, you have a rally planned of over 1 million patriots are going to show up. It's a no-brainer. The Antifa says, hey man, why don't we go into that crowd there and we put a couple MAGA hats on and we can cause a ruckus and they'll blame it on those Trump lovers. If anybody doesn't think that happened on January 6th, then nothing I say is going to get through to you anyways. You might as well just click off on this video. January 6th is not unlike the Boston Tea Party. It's the beginning of things to come. It's the beginning of larger groups, citizen journalists becoming engaged, caring about their country, shunning apathy, becoming educated about your elected officials. Look, there's time for Netflix and video games and all the things that you love, but you must first preserve the environment that lets that happen in the first place, and we're letting it slip away. It's time for everyone to exercise your citizen journalism. It could be on a small scale, a large scale, in the checkout line, at the post office, on a blog, on a vlog. When you speak to somebody on the phone, do not be ashamed of your political testimony. If your intent is righteous and it is to preserve this great nation, then you are doing the right thing. I'm Jared, citizen journalist.